Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Sunday, very irregular time for a cast, I know, but hey, at least most of you are going to be at home. Hopefully you are up and awake now if you stayed up last night to watch that ridiculous farce, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Maybe I'm in the minority there, not many boxing fans amongst my subs maybe, but damn, that was some dull business right there. Hopefully I've got a couple of more interesting contenders for you this afternoon. It's going to be a ladder match, and I know you might be getting bored of the pro level ladder matches. Where's the variation guy? Where are the Joes? Where are the team games? Where are the epics that we haven't seen in forever? Well, I'm just a little short on time at the moment, so I'm managing to get the casts out, but I'm not getting a great deal of time to go searching for them at the moment. I promise as soon as I'm able, I will I will get digged out, but I'm a month away from our due date now for our baby, so how much more time I'm going to get in the immediate future will remain to be seen, but we will do our very best as we always do. Anyway, as I said, it's going to be a ladder match, and it's all going to go down on Via 3 Protectorate, so let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Been a while since I've cast one on here. It's always I always get this one confused with De Rosa's Sanctuary. Very similar in shape and scale, with the exception, of course, that the colour is completely different, bright red and grey. Let's take a look at our players, though. First of all, up here at the top right in the red corner, it's my good friend and community mod, Voodoo, going his very noble, normal and attractive UEF and opening first land. And his opponent down here, featuring quite heavily these days in Guilecast, it's ZLO, going his very average, normal and questionable Cybran, and also opening first land. Not getting the colours right, though. It feels wrong. Why on earth UEF has ended up on red and Cybran ending up on blue? Of course, ladder matches, chaps don't get to choose their colours. They get stuck with what they get stuck with. But still, these are these two pros' quintessential factions. Voodoo has always been a long-standing UEF player. He's played quite a lot of random of late, but it's nice to see him either reverting to type or just ending up with a UEF pick on random. ZLO is yeah, I need to get this guy a t-shirt, Cybran until I die. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him play any other race, but he certainly does play Cybran masterfully. Anyway, next up on the build queue for him after that land factory seems to be second land, I think. Yeah, there it goes, and then third air and fourth land, whereas Voodoo is going to go second air by the looks of things, and then third land. ZLO having an issue with pathfinding, but he doesn't want that going out in global chat. That's not for Voodoo's benefit, that's just for us. But no, clearly not intentional. That's a ton of land factories queued up to the eastern interchange there between the two starting locations. Of course, typically a 4-player map. Works very well, though, in ladder and 1v1 format. Nice and symmetrical throughout. And, of course, you've got these civilians who are pretty damn aggressive if you get too close. Plenty of PDs and anti-air in there. But, of course, 8 mexes to capitalize on if you can get close. Not a great deal of early harassment from these two. No lab play at all coming out from Voodoo, who doesn't have a single offensive unit on the map as yet. Nothing but engineers. Pure expansion. And if we take a look at ZLO, the picture doesn't differ too much on that front either. He's thrown out 3 moles at crucial sections, the possible direction where Voodoo may come from. But other than that, it's all engineers as well. Scout plane getting the first bit of intel on both sides of the map there for ZLO, and Voodoo with a transport laden with NGs. Where is it heading? For some reason, where on earth is your move point? There it is. It doesn't actually pop up, but single engineer dropped down there, and all of the rest of them airlifted to that top left, where there's already a queue order there for ZLO to get a land factory together. I'm suspecting that's not going to be successful. Voodoo in place, but that transport does get spotted. That courier under pressure needs to drop those engineers off quickly. Manages to get them down. It will get shot down, but Voodoo won't be upset about that. Build capacity safely on terra firma. Very nice work indeed. Voodoo for the moment seem to be ahead on that one. Bottlenecks himself on power, but when he gets that under control, he was running with a few mass advantage. ZLO quickly catching up though, of course. Now taking a look at how these guys are actually expanding. We pick up Voodoo there. So 4 land factories on site so far in different locations for Voodoo's base, and that compares to the, well, look at that, 12 land factories already in operation for ZLO. So Voodoo could find himself swamped with units relatively soon. That's an awful lot of production capacity that ZLO has built up in the first 6.5 minutes of this game. But Mantis moving in on these mexes up here at the top left. That first T1 mech's gonna drop. Another few moving in on this northwestern corner. Build capacity getting caught. That's probably not going to make it out of there. Oh, it's going to be close. Another Mantis turns up to spoil the day there. St. John not going to make it back to base. Terribly sad. But interestingly enough, unless an engineer was destroyed, I don't think it was because I don't see any UEF footprints down anywhere. Voodoo decided not to throw down a factory up here, which is usually your first port of call when you're trying to secure an area. Get the factory up and running so you can produce more build capacity and secure an area. But for the moment, top left in the hands of Voodoo. Engineer up here not doing anything for the moment. We do have 3 Mantis crawling around in the area, but in the bottom right down here, very much in the hands of ZLO. Voodoo much more isolationist and much less expansionist in his approach here, taking up his eco 58 to 37, 55 to 37 at current reading. Reclaimed mass 6,200 there for Voodoo. ZLO 7,500, so slight edge there to ZLO in the early game. But now Voodoo finds himself in danger of yielding this top left position, and I gotta say, really doesn't seem too concerned about it at the moment. And we have a T2 Land Factory HQ in operation. That is up and running within the 10-minute mark here. Can't as yet see any upgrades. There could be anywhere. ZLO just has so many land factories. But as yet, cannot see anything. Let's take a look at how many T1 units he's got on the field now, ZLO. Well, look at that. 117 Mantis on the field. That is outrageous amounts of spam for such an early point in game. And Voodoo really doesn't have very much. We're going for comparative numbers. He's got 8 strikers on the field. That's it. Just 8. Compared to, what was it, 112, 117, 141 now. That's escalating pretty quickly. So ZLO going very hard and fast into this one. Voodoo, by contrast, going tech but being slow about it. Now got some pillars under construction, and there's quite a large commitment to the air gain now. So he's got early land tech and then going hardcore air with an awful lot of T2 power to no doubt sustain air production. But the top left has been yielded, and now map control wise, ZLO firmly in the lead. Eco though, edge still with Voodoo, 63 to 50. So Voodoo giving himself a lot less to do. Perhaps he's just feeling lazy. He's like, you know what? I've got enough mexes here. I'm going to tech up early on, and that's the way I'm going to do this. Protect more or fewer high-value targets instead of trying to combat ZLO on map control. Generally not a great tactic in Subcom, it has to be said. Map control is usually a massive positive if you can get your hands on it. But that forward land factory there, upgraded. Excuse the annoying Facebook ping in the background there. Not that I'm calling any of my subscribers who are sending in replays annoying, because that would be rude. Clearly my own fault for not closing the window. One lone mantis just getting a little bit too close to one of those civilian eruptors there. Doesn't turn out too well for him. But look at this. I mean, it literally is almost 70%, maybe a little bit more map control now to ZLO. Voodoo just sitting in his corner. He's got pillars in place, build capacity, putting together T1 PD, but we haven't got any T2 build capacity on these edges from what I can see, so no triads here. This is all going to have to be done with plasma cannons. And ZLO just massing a, quite frankly, disgusting quantity of units. 306 Mantis on the field right now. And Medusas, well, nearly 40 there. 39 Medusas. The question is, has he got enough punching power with all of that spam to break through? What are we looking at in terms of pillars for Voodoo? Well, he's only got 14 throughout. Yes, he's got plasma cannons to assist him here, but this is very, very scary from our UEF's point of view. So much pressure, so many units. Civilian eruptors just feeling the pressure there from ZLO's forces. You can see he's making an entry now down here. Wants to get his hands on these mexes, and I don't blame him. He probably won't be expecting to be as far behind in eco as he is, being as he has virtually most of the map under his control. But Voodoo really is way ahead. Look at that, 130 mass per tick to around about 100. Take a look at reclaim so far. Well, 24,000 from Voodoo isn't too bad, but 35,000 from ZLO even better, so that generated advantage a little less impressive once you look at the reclaim figures. ZLO, of course, with so much map to call on for all that reclaim, and it illustrates to you just how much reclaim there is on the map if you can get your hands on it on Via 3 Protectorate. But now we really are looking at a multiple front engagement, so we've got a two-pronged attack hitting the left edge, or the left flank of Voodoo's base, and then a major push simultaneously on the right flank as well. These plasma cannons doing a nice job at the moment of keeping that huge body of Mantis out from that right flank, but there's a breakthrough on the left. The second prong up here getting holed up next to that T2 factory there. A ton of pillars in the way, but there's definitely a breach in the center. That single plasma cannon not enough to stall, and now we have Mantis and Medusa issues in the base for Voodoo, and these units converging now. As we go back to full screen, that is a major breach, but look out, Voodoo not stopping on the technology front, goes straight to T3 and immediately starts pumping out Titans. Trouble is, there's so many T1 units on the field now. Has he left that too late? Was he being too greedy with the tech and yielding too much in terms of map control? Well, we'll soon see. Voodoo cornering a bunch of that Mantis spam, the edge of the map there with his ACU, but a few do make it around the edge, and look at this very vulnerable power grid that's still under construction there. These T2 engineers doing their best. Fortunately, no Medusas left in that mix, so I think Voodoo's going to be able to hang on to that for the moment, but ZLO has taken the opportunity to upgrade to T2, so we now have Rhinos turning up at the front door of Voodoo's base. Pillars emerging from the east, trying to curtail this push, but it just seems relentless. More units coming in all the time. Not so much building down here now. It seems that ZLO has found his entry point and wants to funnel everything he can through this breach, trying to prevent Voodoo from sealing it back up. He might struggle now that we've got T3 in place. Voodoo probably going to be able to just march those Titans straight up and plug the gap. He will be disappointed to see those Rhinos, but he can't be surprised. If he knew the true scope of Eco, he might be surprised to be ahead by 60 mass per tick. And whether he can hold on to that advantage with this continuous pressure that's coming from our Cybran player remains to be seen. There's now a pretty solid little power ball of T2 units from ZLO. Let's see how many Rhinos we've got in the air. Well, he's almost going exclusive Rhino production from this edge of the map now. He has 106 on the map to date. That is a huge amount of firepower if he can get it all bunched up in one place. Just a handful of Titans trying to hold the line now from another push that threatens to breach its way into Voodoo's base. But look at the amount of T1 PD that's been queued up by the build capacity in Voodoo's base. Voodoo fully expecting that spam to reach the center of his base. Desperately doesn't want to lose his core mass, doesn't want to lose his power grid or that T3 land factory. If he loses any of those things, it's going to be extraordinarily difficult for him to come back from this point. It's already looking pretty bad. Producers down here working on this forward station. It's going to create another hole for ZLO to push through. Now we're seeing Percy's enter the mix. Needs more of them though to try and deal with all of these Rhinos, and Voodoo needs to be very careful. He's got his ACU very close to the action, and he doesn't have overcharge yet either, and then suddenly a power storage is completed, so now he has access. Once again, he's got T2 tech on board with the hit point boost that gives him, and he's got resource allocation, not gun. So partially upgraded for combat, but not all the way. We do have triads emerging in the center, but not a great deal of them, and this is looking very bad for Voodoo now, whose ACU is being forced back into the center of his base, and that spam now bearing down on the power grid. Voodoo will be desperate not to lose these T2 P-gens. One of them goes up, it's going to take half the rest of them with them. They are very, very close. Down they go in quick succession. There is an awful lot of PD in this base, but that forward line being peppered now, Voodoo has no choice but to yield on that front, and the ACU under pressure. Voodoo with 18,000 hit points at full health. Currently, though, going into the yellow with 12,000 hit points and falling. I don't know if ZLO has enough units to complete the victory right now. Still has energy storage and therefore still able to overcharge. Wasting mass though at full bar, no build capacity around to spend it. He's just concerning himself at the moment with staying alive. 10,000 hit points on that ACU and 33 kills to date. Down go the air factories. Voodoo was hoping to make that his next edge. Now finds himself in desperate times. Triad structure survives. Voodoo with the option to restart production of it, and one air factory still remains. We slow this up a sec and just take a look at the state of the overall board. Well, look at that. One lone Percy down here. We do have another T3 factory down here, so he's going to be able to produce T3 units from that edge of the field as well. Hopefully, for Voodoo's sake, that'll mean he'll be able to hold on to that base for a little bit longer. He cannot afford to allow ZLO another angle of approach. He has to make his stand there and hope that he's got enough in this base to prevent another attack. It really doesn't look good, but this is the absolute epitome of tech versus spam, and I can't believe it. We've got ASFs on the field, so where on earth they came from? Well, we went to T3 air. I missed that right up there. So Voodoo with another potential edge to his blade now, starts working on broadswords. That could be really interesting. ZLO, if we take a very quick look down here, does have a whole bunch of air factories, but again, concerning himself with numbers, not technology, sticking with T1, so technology mismatch on both ground and air for Voodoo, but he's got so much work to do. Still somehow ahead just on eco, but then as soon as I say it, Curse of the Commentator kicks in and ZLO pulls ahead. So these guys pretty much neck and neck. Voodoo trying to plonk down more P-gens on the wrecks of his old ones. Desperately needs to rectify his power situation so he can plow more resources into that T3 air factory. Broadsword's going to be crucial, I think, if he's got any hope of holding off yet more of these attacks. He's actually got a pretty decent body of inties as well. But Voodoo doing phenomenally well. I think most people would have given up at this point. I'm wondering if he realizes just how close the game still is on eco. But eco isn't everything. If ZLO can pick off a few key manufacturing structures here, take out a T3 factory or two, a T3 HQ, that could be enough to seal this game. Voodoo relentlessly spamming together triads. Has he capitalized on reclaim, though? He's got so much mass that's just being wasted. I would love to see the figures on this one. Nothing he can do about it. Physically hasn't got the build capacity, the build power to do anything with that mass. The Deuce is making life difficult for him down here, but Two Percy's holding the line nicely. It's about to be another T2 mass pump that's about to go down. The thing is, he's not even using the mass at the moment anyway. Really not going to cause Voodoo any more headaches than he's currently suffering. But this bank of triads at the back really earning its pay now. So much mass in this area, it's unreal. Broadswords have been relocated down here, and I'm surprised to see that ZLO hasn't started flinging out more bangers onto the field. I guess he feels he's so very close now, he can just keep doing what he's doing, keep up the ground pressure, but these broadswords aren't going to be having any problems from the air. Voodoo very much in command, I think, of the air game, it's fair to say. And as they increase in number, ZLO going to find it increasingly more difficult to sustain the ground pressure. And quite a nasty little group of Percivals grouping up together now at this right flank few units have escaped around the edge, but one broadsword is redirected to deal with those. But another massive force of rhinos brewing on this side of the map. 54 in the screen window at present. But ZLO really does need some mobile anti-air. Still seems to be working predominantly on rhinos. We do have T3 ground tech in play now for ZLO. I'm wondering if we're seeing any advance into T2 air tech. Well, not that I can see, but that doesn't mean it's not going on somewhere. So many T2 factories on the map now for ZLO. It's unreal. 29 T2 factories. That is outrageous. Although a whole bunch of them just got self-destructed. ZLO with some large plans for that mass. Definitely can't rely, I don't think, unless he gets it now. Gets a scalp here. Cannot rely on this stratagem. Voodoo finds himself increasingly more well dug in, and a Fat Boy has been started at the back here. Voodoo, with the build capacity to start something like that now, needs to get reclaiming, whilst at the same time trying to increase his defensive presence in the base. T3 factory here under a lot of pressure. That's not going to survive. Down it goes. Voodoo backing away towards his static defenses. But there's so many triads back here. Trouble is, an awful lot of overkill when they all prioritize one or two units like that. All sections doing a nice job of blocking a lot of that rhino fire when it's bearing down on those plasma cannons. Voodoo retreating off towards his Fat Boy, which doesn't even have any build capacity on it anymore. In fact, he doesn't seem to have any build capacity left in the base, and desperately doesn't want to lose that air factory. This is what I would be prioritizing now if I was ZLO. These HQ buildings. But still, yet again, so many PDs, T1 and T2. But just when it looks like ZLO is about to deal the killing blow, he runs out of units. The attack peters out. But look at this. Voodoo actually branching out down here. 9 Percivals in that little bunch. And with nothing on the ground defensively up here, ZLO hasn't needed anything. Pressure has all been with him all game. He's got nothing really to stop them. Has got T3, and you see ZLO reacting to the broadsword pressure, now producing mobile anti-air. We've got bouncers on the field. But what he really needs to be concerned about is those bricks coming from the east. But this is what happens when you've got your opponent tied up on the ropes like this for so long. You become very, very focused on trying to maintain the pressure. But Voodoo, 44 kills on that ACU, and when it's at full health, 21,000 hit points. And those defending broadswords just dishing out enough pain to allow him to keep on top of things. But look at the difference now from ZLO. 46 rhinos on the field. That still sounds like quite a lot, but compared to the hundreds that were on the field not 5-10 minutes ago, drastic change as he moves towards T3. Now ZLO way ahead in things on eco, 134 to 62. He's done a lot of damage to Voodoo's mass production, and Voodoo has wasted an awful lot of mass while he tries to contend with all of that pressure that's been bearing down on him. But now ZLO upgrading and throwing out more expensive units. Suddenly that volume of units no longer there, and this is a very nasty sight indeed. The amount of firepower that's marching in here, almost equivalent to a experimental. Percival's just so unbelievably good. Their alpha is beautiful, and that is a decommissioned outpost there for ZLO. 4 mexes out of commission. It drops him down to 116 mass per tick. Let's have a look at reclaim. 94,000 for ZLO and only 47,000 for Voodoo, but it's not really representative on this game because the nature of it has been so very strange. Voodoo not able to spend that eco, but Bouncers moving in now finally to challenge these broadswords, but still they take so long to chew through those 7,200 hit points. And Voodoo, recognizing the danger, moves those off to different locations and potentially able to start assassinating eco, but this is unreal. ZLO, after all of that pressure, finds himself on the defensive foot, and he's got nothing. He has got nothing to deal with this. Those Percys marching their way into the main base now, which to all intents and purposes is very likely to be destroyed. ZLO bringing his ACU into the mix. I hope you've got overcharge. You certainly have 14,000 energy stored, so although that mass storage is about to go down, there it goes, drops to 9. There's another one somewhere else that will allow that ACU to overcharge if he has to. But those broadswords just finding chinks in the armor of ZLO's setup now, going straight after the eco, prioritizing those T2 mexes, and suddenly Voodoo now finds himself on a par with his opponent in terms of generated mass. But he's got more issues of his own. Another push coming in from that corner. We're going to have to go to split screen now to keep an eye on these 2 locales. That fat boy nearly finished, approaching 10,000 hit points there. But the main base of ZLO completely destroyed. That T3 land HQ still in operation, but that forward outpost now devoid of mexes. Not going well at all. ZLO approaching around the edge, needs to start overcharging, and quickly one goes into the center of the Percys there, doesn't destroy it. There's so many hit points. This could be an absolute catastrophe for ZLO. No! That was a very poor decision indeed. 13k hit points from ZLO. Says he underestimated the Percys. He certainly did. And yes, there was pressure coming in, but look at this. That fat boy very nearly complete, and still so much point defense online for Voodoo. 11 T1s and 9 T2s, with more T1s being produced all the time in the center there, and more T2s on the way from the ACU as well. Judging by all of the previous attacks that have come in there, I really don't see that was going to work. I cannot believe how well Voodoo did to stay in that game. It just shows you that if you're tenacious and you keep at it, that tech versus spam can win even when you are absolutely mobbed. Well, that was a highly entertaining game, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. As always, more to come from me in the future. But in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.